Let's go live on the line to Wayne Duvenhage, chairperson of the Opposition to Urban Tolling Alliance. Wayne, good morning to you. Your response to the judge's verdict this morning?
Well, obviously, OUTA is disappointed at that judgment. We are pleased that the cost order was overturned, which was an erroneous decision made by Judge Forster in December. And we're very pleased that we don't have to be lumbered with government's costs. That would send a very negative signal to society and to civil society when it needs to challenge irrational decisions of this nature. Nonetheless, we will be holding a formal press conference tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. We just want to unpack this judgment and read exactly where and what the issues are. This is by no means the end of the e-tolling matter. I think it's actually the start of it, taken now into the People's Court, where we believe that it will be challenged because of the overwhelming rejection of this plan by society.
Just expand on that a little bit for us. What legal avenues remain open to you at this point?
Well, no, there is the possibility of taking this to the Constitutional Court. So we need to unpack that, as we say, and make that decision. And we're only going to make that decision next week, but we want to unpack the judgment and make some formal comments on it tomorrow morning. But there are other legal challenges and drives that can come from other sectors of society. There's obviously the whole enforcement process that SAMROL has to spell out, and civil society individuals will be challenging this in courts because they believe that their rights are usurped anyway.
Do you think there's any point in even considering taking it to the Con Court, given that we have other legal precedents for cases where the Con Court has simply thrown it out because it challenges that or brings about that argument again about the separation of powers, the fact that the courts cannot rule or decide on legislation?
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it a tough case, and it does also mean, though, that government can introduce policies which are irrational, and because they say that that's what they want to do, well, then it simply becomes a law. That doesn't mean to say that irrational policies survive the test of time and other court challenges that might come from different angles, different avenues. So we're not saying that we are necessarily going to take it to the Constitutional Court, but we're also not saying that there's no room for legal challenges in other avenues going forward.
Wayne Duvenhage, thanks very much for your time this morning. Just to recap our breaking story on the channel at this hour, the Supreme Court of Appeal has thrown out OUTA's appeal for to have the e-tolling system reviewed. We'll bring you more on that story a little later on in our bulletin.
News that moves. eNCA.com.